welcome to our video on Photoshop animation. It's pretty easy and fun. It's not very hard to do, and I think you're really going to enjoy doing it. So first thing you need to do is open Photoshop. Your screen may look a little different depending on what version of Photoshop you have, but the important thing is you're looking for Create New, or you want to go to File New. Both are going to do the same thing. So click Create New, and what we want to do is move across the top to when we get print. This is going to be the easiest way to do it for students. There's other ways that are a little more complicated, but we want to hit print, we hit letter, and then over here on the right, notice we have inches and 8.5 by 11. So that's kind of the size of a piece of paper. I'm going to do the horizontal format, which is this one here. So now we have 11 by 8.5. And up here under Untitled 1, we're going to call it animation. And then we're going to move down here and change our resolution from 300, which is really big, to just 72, because that's what our screen resolution is. Once you have that, click OK, click Create, and there we go. Now to begin, just remember Command plus and minus will zoom in and out, and Command 0 fills the screen. Now you may not have this at the bottom that says Timeline. If you don't have Timeline at the bottom, here's how you get to it. You go to Window, up the very top, you go to Workspace, slide your mouse over until you see Motion. So if yours looks like, let's say this, and you don't have that bar at the bottom, Window, Workspace, and we click on Motion right here. And then I'm going to hit Command 0 to make it fit. So this looks pretty good. Right now we have our white background. We have this at the bottom ready for our animation. Let's get like a fun colored background that we can animate on. So on our toolbar on the left, we're going to move down until we find our gradient tool, and it looks kind of like a shadow. And as you can see right here in the little demonstration, it's showing you what you can do. By clicking and dragging, you can make a color fade. So I'm going to click on it and look at the top here, and I have this rainbow selected right now. What I did was I went a little quick there. I just clicked right on this rainbow and this popped up. So I can hit OK or cancel, but there's a little drop down arrow next to it, and it gives us lots of different options for different ones you can click on. And if yours looks different than mine, you can always click the gear and you can go to large thumbnail or click to expand and look at the different gradients that you can use. And then you can pick one if you like it here, or you can click right on it. If you click on your gradient, it'll let you go in and customize it and move things around. This works. This one's good for me, so I'm going to hit OK. And then when I'm ready, what I'm going to do at the top here, there's 5 different kinds. There is a linear gradient, so click and drag. That makes it a gradient from kind of like a line form. This one here, you can start in the middle, and this is going to give you kind of a circular form. And then this next one, it's kind of look like a pyramid. And then the last one looks even more like a pyramid from above. But I'm going to start with just my first one, the linear gradient. Click and drag, and that gives you a nice gradient in the background. It looks really good. And then I'm going to have a white shape over top that's going to be moving around that I'm going to animate. So you want to make sure whatever color shape you want to do, and in the bottom left corner, that's your colors. Make sure you have a color that's going to contrast, that looks very different from your background. So I'm going to pick white, and I'm going to move my mouse up and down my toolbar until I find this little, looks like a wiggly star. Looks kind of like a ghost from Ghostbusters. And I'm going to move my mouse up and down, click on custom shape. If you don't have that, you may have these 3 dots at the bottom, and it'll let you click on all these different tools, but the one we want is custom shape tool. And then once you get to custom shape, we're going to move to the top here, and we see we have a shape. We have a crown, but next to that, there's a drop-down menu, and there's all these different shapes. If you don't have this many, click the gear, and over here you may have where it says all. So the older version of Photoshop has the word all, and we have them all in here right now, but you may need to load them in yourself. So if you do, pick one that you want to do, pick one you want to animate, something fun. Maybe the light bulb here will do this time. And I'm going to take my light bulb and I'm going to click off of it, and I'm just going to click and drag right on my document. And if I drag it over here, you're going to notice it gets all stretched out. But if I hold shift, it's going to lock right into place. So I'm going to hold shift, and we're going to use shift to make sure that the light bulb is perfect right now. Now my light bulb, what we want to do is we want to try to have it move from one part of the frame to another. So if I hit Command minus and zoom out a little bit, and then I take my move tool here, and that's right up at the top, and make sure you have auto select turned off and you have show transform turned on, and that's going to let you change the size if you want. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, kind of move it down here to the bottom. It's still here. You can see my shapes there. It's just outside of the frame. This frame right here is where animation is going to be. Then down here we have our timeline. And this timeline is going to be very similar to PowerPoint, where we have all these different slides. And what you want to do is, most of the time the default is create video timeline. You may see that. That's not what we want. Don't click that. You want to hit the arrow next to it and make sure it says frame animation. Okay, hit create frame animation. Click that. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a slide down here in the corner. And that's going to be like in PowerPoint where you have all your slides and they play through. So my first slide won't have the light bulb on it at all. It's hidden. So you can see we have light bulb on the right in our layers and background. And what I want to do is make a new one. So on our timeline, we're looking for, it's either a little piece of paper or a plus, and we hit that. And then what you do is you move it up a little bit. You have it just kind of peek in a little, then hit the plus again. You're going to have it move up a little bit more. Hit the plus again, and you can see we're having it creep up in like this, and we're having it move. You can have it move kind of diagonally a little bit or just side to side, whatever you want to do. We're gonna have it kind of rise like a balloon or like someone has an idea. And every time you notice I have a pattern, what I do is I move it a little and I hit plus, and I move it a little and I hit plus, like that every time. And you can always see the little preview down at the bottom to let you know what each one looks like. And now we're going to have it so it almost goes off. And then for this one, it's totally off the screen and it's gone. So 13, it's gone. So if I go all the way back to 1, you can click on them here, go back to 1, or there's different functions where you can fast forward and rewind. You'll notice I have forever. That means they're going to play through forever. You'll also notice that they're set to 0 seconds, which means it's going to play fast and forever. So if I hit the little triangle for play, it's going to play through. And as you can see, it's going to start rising and it's going to loop through forever. If I hit the square, that's stop. What I can do is change the time for any individual slide. So I can change the time here and make it 0.2. And then if I hit play, it's going to pause for 0.2 and then rise. So 0.2 seconds, it pauses and then it rises up. Or I can start on my first slide, hold shift, select my last slide, and now I have them all selected, and then I can change the time for all of them, 0.2. So now all of them change to 0.2. I press play, and it's going to slowly rise up. Some people like this. Some people like it to move a little faster. So I'm going to hit pause, click the last one, click the first one, opposite order, still works. Now what we're going to do is change it back to the no delay again, hit play, and it rises up. So that's great. We have one short little animation. I'm going to show you what happens if you want to add another shape. So now let's figure out another shape. Let's click on custom shapes. Let's find another one here. Instead of light bulb, let's do, maybe we have a butterfly fly across here. So we're going to have a butterfly next. Click off of it. And this, we're going to hit cancel on this in case that pops up. So I'm going to click and drag, hold shift. There's my butterfly. If you want to change the color of it, you can go down here and click here to change the color, and it'll let me change it to something else. Let's pick something that matches, maybe yellow here. Let's do it like a brighter yellow butterfly. And what I'm going to do is take my butterfly and I'm going to move it off to the side, kind of off the space. We still know it's there. It's just kind of hiding out of the frame. But if I go back here, now it's on every single slide and it pasted it on all of them. So what do I do? So it's off this one. So I'm going to go to 12 and I'm going to hold shift and click 1, and it's going to select all the slides with all of my butterflies on them. So I'm going to move over to my layers menu and click the eyeball. And all that's going to do is make it invisible. It's still there, but as you can see at the bottom, it disappeared in all of them. So now I'm going to start from 13 and I'm going to start moving my butterfly in. Butterfly's still here, you just can't see it. So from 13, it's going to be hidden. I'm going to hit the plus And I'm going to start moving the butterfly in. Hit the plus, move it a little bit, hit the plus, move it a little bit. And as you can see, now we have our butterfly moving in. I'm going to have it move up and down a little bit because that's kind of how butterflies move. They kind of flutter up and down. So hit plus, move it a little bit, hit plus, move it a little bit. We're going to have this butterfly flying around our picture. So this is going to end up being two short little animations. We're going to have our light bulb moving up and down, and then we're going to have our butterfly moving across the screen as well. And right now we have it set to 0 seconds, and we also have it set to forever. So it's just going to keep moving through forever, and it'll loop. So once the butterfly is done, it's going to go back to the light bulb, and then back to the butterfly, and then back to the light bulb. So there, now I have it all the way through, and I'm going to take my slider bar, slide it back, go to number 1, and I'm going to hit the play button, which is the triangle, and there we go. And it's going to go back and forth. Now that butterfly is a little fast. They're all a little fast, to be honest. So what I'm going to do here is click my first slide, which is 1, use my scroll bar, go to my last one, which is 30, but I have to hold shift and click, and now I have all of them. And I'm going to slow it down a little. I'm going to go to 0.2. Once I save it, it's going to be a little smoother, but for now, I think 0.2 is pretty good. It moves through pretty well. I kind of like that. 0.2 is a little better. Maybe 0.2 or 0.1. I like that. So we're going to pause this. And what we want to do is export it now. So we're going to hit File. And what we want to do is we want to export. And my easiest favorite way to do it is do Save for Web, because we're going to view these on the web. So click Save for Web. Once you hit Save for Web, this is going to load here. This is our save menu. All the colors we have loaded in. Down here it says forever. That's what it's going to look like when we load it through. I'm going to hit preview in this bottom corner here just to see what it looks like when it's on the web. Ignore the stuff down here. But yeah, that looks pretty good. That's exactly what we're looking for. All right, so I'm going to minimize this, get rid of that. Okay, that's going to save, looking pretty good for me. We're going to hit the button save right here. We're going to hit save. And it's going to ask us where we want it to go. It's called animation, and I'm going to put it in my downloads folder. That's probably where you guys are going to look most of the time. Hit animation, hit save, and it's going to save it for us. I'm going to click all the way down here to Finder. Click my Finder, go to my downloads, and there it is, animation. Click on, oh good, it gives me a little preview over here. I'm going to click on animation, and let's see where it goes. Let's see if it'll load for me. Nope. All I have to do is hit the space bar to load through. That's not how I want to preview it. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to drag it right down to the blue compass in Safari. And there we go. It's going to load for us. There they go, back and forth. That looks good. Now what I'd like you to do is upload it. Upload it to Google Classroom so I can post these up on the web once you have your animation done. So great job on these. If you don't have a Google Classroom link, go ahead and email this to Mr. A, that's me, and I'd like to be able to post these up on my website. So if this is not an assignment you're doing through Google Classroom, what you can do is just send it directly to me, and I always like posting things up on the website. So before I'm done, I'm going to go to File Save, or I can just hit the red X. I'm going to save it on my computer, and the place I want to save just for now is in my Downloads folder called Animation, Save, hit OK. And there we go. That was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed making a basic animation, and we'll see you.